Good morning, Floss Tube. Welcome to the Socks for Mom podcast. My name is Becky and I go by Socks for Mom all across social media. And I just want to welcome you here this morning. If this is your first time and if you are coming back, welcome. It's so great to be welcomed into a community like I have the last couple weeks. I cannot tell you guys how much joy it gave me to read all your comments, to see that I had so many things in common with so many people. Whether you lived in Texas, whether you lived in Colorado, whether you lived down the road from me, whether you have stitched the same things I have stitched, which is pretty amazing because I think as a cross stitcher, when you work on those projects, you feel like you're all alone. Well, I'm talking about back when I did those because there was no such thing as YouTube or a community of stitchers like this. So I kind of felt like that was a lone project when I did those. And it's just kind of thrilling to see that some of you have stitched those same things. It's been like people have come out of my past almost. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun to stitch along with Mustang Sally. It's just, you guys are just absolutely great. And so thank you from the bottom of my heart for the warm welcome that you gave me. Well, let's get started. I have a little bit of knitting and a little bit of stitching. And over the past few weeks, as I have watched you guys, there have been some things that I have seen are very familiar to me. It's like I knew your language right off the bat. We have a lot of common terms with knitting. And so I thought I would do a little comparison. So I have my little flow charts right here, because once long ago, I was a computer programmer. So this is kind of the way my mind works in flowcharts. So first off, I'm gonna have to be referring down to my charts. First off, we both, knitters and stitchers alike, both use the term frog. We both say, rip it, rip it, rip it. Whenever we have to rip stitches out, we both say frog. I have to frog it. We both say FOs, finished object. Now, we have a few different ways we go from there though. So I have my props. This is my FO this week. This is as close as I can come to a Donna clipboard, an old-fashioned clipboard. So this is my warm winter woolens that is FO'd. It's not FFO'd. That was a new term to me, and I'm assuming, if I'm wrong, you guys correct me, but I'm assuming that means it's the final finished object, where you actually frame it or you make it into a pillow. I'm not really sure what I'm going to be doing with this yet. I have not quite decided. I may make a little quilt around it. I may just put it in a frame. I really want it to go into my fiber room. I want all my sheep in there, so I may just put it in a little frame. I watched a really good tutorial this week from Theresa. And I've got some ideas. Anyways, I'm diverging from my flow chart. This is an FO. Okay. So knitters use two additional terms. See if you can see them. They say UFO, an unfinished object, and they say HO, a half object. An unfinished object is something that you started and you've kind of lost the love for it and it's gone in a timeout corner and you will get back to it. You did not want to frog it. You do want to finish it, but you just lost the love for it. That's a UFO. A hoe, on the other hand, speaking of hands. A hoe, on the other hand, is like this little fingerless mitt that I started last fall. I'm putting it on backwards. That won't help. How's this thing go? Okay. So a hoe, and you will see I still have strings all on it. I've got it on backwards because my brain isn't working this morning to put it on the right hand. But this is a hoe. This is a hoe, folks. I have finished one. I have the other one right here that is not done. So I only have a hoe. I have a half object. That's how our terms differ. Okay, what's next? Project bags. We all love project bags, and we like putting our individual projects in individual bags. So, for instance, I have lots of knitting bags like this one that I have sewn up because I'm a sewist, and I like to make my project bag. So sorry about that. I thought I had all my props. So now I have modified my bag to be a stitching bag. So the D-ring right here will hold all my floss. And when I'm out and about and I want to put this away, I put it inside this front pocket right here. And I put the little wristlet on. And in a few minutes, we're going to talk about Julie of Gulf Coast Stitcher asked us to show what's in our bags. So I won't go into what's in this bag right now. But stitchers like their project bags and knitters like their project bags. And we tend to collect a lot of them. What is next? Beads. Boy. I thought that I had gotten away from beads when the last major stitching project I did back in the 90s, I guess, close to 2000 maybe, was this angel. And I'm going to put in some pictures right here and show you this beautiful lavender and lace with lots and lots and lots and lots of beads. Lots of beads. I have no idea how many beads are in this because stitchers don't really count their beads. They just buy the box of beads, I guess. Well, knitters also like their beads, but this is how we're different. Look at my flow chart. You see that stitchers don't count their beads and knitters count their beads. Now I'm going to put a picture in of the last shawl I knit. This is called the Diamond Fizz Shawl. It's very dazzling out in the sunlight, just like a diamond. And it has 820 beads in it. So knitters always count their beads every pattern that you get has the number of beads that you need to have. And believe me, when we're done putting in all those beads, we want to tell everybody exactly how many beads are in it. Okay, so let's move on to the next flow chart. The next flow chart is socialization. Okay. Stitchers have their SALs, Stitchalongs, and knitters have their CALs, Knit-alongs. They both like mystery SALs or mystery CALs. And I'm in a bunch of them already on both sides. Okay, now let's look at something that we should not take personal, but it's our maniacal behavior. We both do it, stitchers and knitters. Stitchers have something called stitch mania that I just found out about. And this is how I really found out about it. I saw the hashtag and I thought, oh, what a cute hashtag. Stitchers like the things they're stitching on. So I put up a picture on day 1 of this. I put up a picture on day 2 of this. Maybe my sheep had an ear. I put up a picture on day 3 of this. Maybe my sheep had a flower. Day 4 of this, he has a tail. Day 5, I've got some letters. And then I started noticing that everyone else that was using that hashtag, they had a different picture every single day. And I thought, whoops, I didn't understand this hashtag. And as I watched you guys, I saw a little bit of mania going on. It didn't stop at 18 days. It went on to 31 days. And knitters call that startitis. They start something, they're tired of what they're working on, and they go crazy casting on a whole bunch of things. They call that startitis. So there's stitch mania and there's starchitis. Now, I haven't been in this community long enough to see the other mania going on, but I can tell you a little bit about knitting mania. We have shawl societies where a designer will design 6 shawls in a year and she'll release the pattern about every 6 weeks, maybe every month, which is a lot of knitting to get that done in that time frame. That's a shawl society. We have sock clubs where a designer will release socks on a monthly basis, and you're trying to keep up with that because in the knitting world you earn prizes if you do from the designer. We have something that I was in for a while called Sock Knitters Anonymous. And every month they would put out a designer or a technique that you had to knit a sock using that, and that's a lot of stitching too. Or we have Camp Loop Oopie Ooh Sherry, a virtual summer camp where you can go to camp all summer, and the first month you knit something with 1 skein, which is doable. The second month you knit something with 2 skeins, which is doable but is a lot of knitting. Usually color work but a lot of knitting. But in August you have the third thing, and you have to knit something with a crazy amount of yardage, like 5 skeins, and that's usually where I am a camp dropout. But I do finish it, usually 2 or 3 months later. So we both have our mania. What about when we can't get enough of each other and we want to be in a big group of people? We both do that too. Stitchers have retreats. I've been watching you guys have a lot of retreats, which looks like a lot of fun, by the way. And they have something called StitchCon. And I can't wait to watch that. I can't wait to see pictures of that. Well, knitters have a festival in New York every year called Rhinebeck, where people come from all over the world to go to it. It is absolutely huge. And there are vendors and there are teachers and there is lots of wool to be had and there are lots of sheep and lots of shearings. And the thing that has come out of Rhinebeck is if you go to Rhinebeck, it's pretty much expected that you're supposed to knit a Rhinebeck sweater. You pick a sweater and it's your Rhinebeck sweater. It's the sweater you wore to Rhinebeck. Well, there's also the Edinburgh Yarn Festival over in Scotland that I would really like to go to someday. So, and there's the Black Sheep Festival on the Pacific coast, and where I came from in Colorado, there's the Estes Park Wool Festival up in the mountains. So we both like to spend time together, don't we? What's next on my flow chart? I think that's it. I think that's it for my flow chart. So that's it for this segment, but that's just some of the things I observe, and I'm looking forward to seeing more things. This is my Mustang Sally. Thanks to Mishchievous Stitches, we have a song that goes with this because I downloaded that after I saw that this is the theme song for Mustang Sally. I have my Sooner Begun, Sooner Done. I have a Sally. I have a little bit of an alphabet. Michelle Bendy has finished hers and it looks stunning. She found a great frame for it. I love this. I love the colors. That tropical blue color isn't showing up very well. I do have a comment about the linen I picked. I had this in my stash. It's some old Witchelt. It's very hard to stitch on, and I think maybe I'm on the wrong side. I don't know if there's a right side or a wrong side. If there is, please tell me. But I'm having a very difficult time seeing this. I love it though. There are a lot of slubs in it. That's what a weaver would say. So I have to manipulate the threads. They're a little bit difficult to count. But I like the color of it. And I do have to use a magnifying glass and my magnifying glasses and lots of light to work on it. So it's very slow going. So my Mustang's gonna probably be at the end of the pack. Michelle was talking about something that Julie, Gulf Coast Julie, talked about. And Michelle ended up, I'm getting ready to start adding in initials. Let me show you if you can see on this. Not sure, I don't know if you can see very well, but there are little initials put in, scattered all over this. And Gulf Coast Julie had the idea of putting the initials in of everybody who's stitching this in the Stitchalong, and I love that idea. I know several of you that are doing it, but if you are stitching on this right now, would you mind leaving a comment below and tell me your initials? Tell me your first name. You don't have to tell me your last name, but do give me your initials. And if you are a YouTuber, please let me know, because I'd love to watch your progress on this. But this is probably the thing I love the most stitching on right now. Mustang Sally. Okay, Julie of Gulf Coast Stitcher showed us what was in her stitching bag. She had a lot of things in it, and she said that would be a great little tag if you wanted to show what was in your stitching bag. So that's what I'm going to do in this segment. What's in her bag? That's what I'll call the segment. All right, so this is my stitching bag, and I'm stitching on DMC Floss with this project. I want to use that as much as possible because I do have a lot of it. And I would like to use some of it. But I am buying specialty threads. I did for Mustang Sally. I bought everything. Okay, so I am working on, in this bag, I'm going to show you everything in the bag. I guess I should start with the front zipper. So, in my front zipper, let's just see what I have. I always carry a little notebook, and I like to do that because if I'm somewhere, I'm not at home, and I see something I want, I can, like in a stitching store, which I haven't been to yet, so I don't know why I'm saying that. I'm referring to if this were my knitting store. I have in here, like I have all the colors written down for Feliz Navidad, which is something I want to stitch. And I've done that to several of the things. So when I'm about, I can reference this. I have needles. I have highlighters, the kind that has the eraser on the end. So you can see that. I think I bought this at Office Depot, and it came in a 3-pack of 3 colors. So I like that because you can erase it. I have beeswax. However, I don't really use it that much. I have needles. I mean, not needles. Scissors. And I carry a pencil because I'm a pencil kind of girl. Love my pencils. What's on the inside of my bag? I have Readers 3mm, the largest size I think you can buy, that magnify the chart. And I just started Turkey Bay by Plum Street Samplers. And I'm doing this as a Stitchalong read-along in the Texas Stitchers on Facebook. So, we are reading Moby Dick. I have this beautiful copy because I was in one of those clubs years ago and I like classic literature. So we started it yesterday. I started reading at 1 in the morning and stitching at 1 in the morning. Stitched away, stitched away, stitched away, stitched away. Well, not too far. I didn't do that much stitching, but I got this much stitching in. And all of a sudden it dawned on me that I needed to be stitching this way, not this way. I put it away. I went to sleep. And I will rip it out today. So day 1 into the stitch along, and that's what I did. All right, let's look at my knitting bag. My knitting bag is not getting a whole lot of attention. Here I have a fringe supply bag, which is super popular in the knitting world. It's very utilitarian. It holds a lot, serves its function. Has this leather strap, which I really like. I'm not knitting much. In fact, I probably mentioned on my last video that I had to take a knitting hiatus, and I've had an MRI since my last video. I've gone to an orthopedic surgeon, and I'm looking at getting a little bit of fusing done. I say little bit. I don't think any surgery is little bit. I'm getting hot. I should have turned the thermometer down. Sorry, I'm really trying to find my picture here. Well, it's a mystery, so I will not show you the final picture. You'll see it. You'll see it as I go along. I'm working on a really fun shawl. And this shawl, you may have seen my pictures on Instagram. This shawl uses 3 colors. And when they were in the skein, they were absolutely incredible. Wound up, you don't see it as much. But the shawl called for 3 colors. The shawl is called the Impressionist Knit-Along. You were to pick an Impressionist painting. This is what you did before, the first clue. And you were to pick an Impressionist painting and pick 3 yarn colors that went with that painting. So I picked this picture here. In the knitting world, there's quite a bit of fading going on. And fading is when you take a color, like this color, and you add in a new color, and you alternate rows to blend it in together, fade them together. Oh, I lost it. It was the green, the mint one. And I have just gotten into the blue down here. It's really pretty. I really like the colors in it. I think the end of it's going to be all blue. And I wear all these colors. I wear the pastel pink, the pastel mint, and I wear a lot of blue. as you can see. So this is the Impressionist shawl, and I'm at 300 stitches. I just finished the first clue. I'm getting ready to move into some lace portion, which will be fun. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a picture in, so you see what it's gonna look like. The other thing I'm knitting on, and now I'll talk about the bag. I got distracted. I'm supposed to be talking about the bags and what we carry in our bags. Okay, this is the fringe supply bag, as I mentioned. It's a very heavy canvas. Sorry, I'm trying to find the picture of what I'm going to show you here. It's really hard to get organized, isn't it? I know all of you floss tubers know exactly what I mean. You think you're organized until you sit down, and then all of a sudden you don't have what you need. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show you in my bag is this. It's a shrug. And I am about halfway. I have the one half. I did for you knitters out there, I did a provisional cast on right here. And I knit all the way down, I think 16.5 inches. I put them on a cable, which is how, whenever it calls for a put it on waste yarn, I have interchangeable cables, knitting needles, I just do this. And then I unzipped the provisional cast on, and now I'm knitting in the other direction. So for you stitchers out there who are not knitters, when you knit lace, it looks pretty, but it won't really reach its full potential until you wet it at the end, you block it out, you pin it out, and then all these holes will open up and you'll see the design a little bit better. But that's my Iris knit along. This yarn is scrumptious. It's not super soft, but there is silk in it, and I think that when I wash it, it's gonna really bloom. It's gonna be really pretty. It smells really good. It smells like a real sheep. It does not smell like processed kind of wool. I'm a yarn sniffer. So, Blacker Yarns Samite. What else can I say about this? I'm not supposed to be talking about this. I'm supposed to be telling you about my bag. What's in my bag? All right, so in my knitting bag, I always carry a tape measure. Because you always have to measure a lot. You have to check your gauge. I have this little gauge ruler. I don't know if you can see this. I have a gauge ruler that you can lay over the top of your gauge to check it real quick, but I will tell you, I do it old school and I check across 4 inches. What else do I have? I have my chart. And that's one thing I forgot to tell you guys, that stitchers and knitters alike are chart readers. On stitching, your chart symbol means a color. On knitting, it means a technique, like the little O means a yarn over, and this means knit two together, or slip one, knit one, pass one over. So I really think that both of these things keep your mind sharp. So that, I have the chart. I usually have the chart. With knitting, it's easy to put the chart on an app called Knit Companion. You can just download any PDF file And I have also downloaded some stitching files if they're PDF. I always have a row counter, and I like these clover kind because you can physically hear the click, which is one extra step that helps you know you counted that row. It's easy to get to the end of the row and then think, did I press that or not? I always carry some chibi little needles to weave in ends. I always carry a pencil. And this time I just have a mechanical. I always carry scissors. And that is about it. So that's everything in my knitting bag. And I have, that's it. That's the end of my bag section. So thank you, Julie, for tagging us. That was a lot of fun. It's fun to snoop in other people's purses, isn't it? What is next? Next, I want to show you, I want to talk about a couple other things. I want to show you my long dog sampler I'm working on. This is done with a sewing shop in England. It's called Sew and Sew. And they sell this Stitchalong as a downloadable file. So I am able to download it onto Knit Companion, or you can download it into iBooks. And that way you can blow it up to see it. So let me show you. This is a long dog sampler. It's designed by Julia Line, who is the long dog sampler designer lady. And it will be this big. It is huge. And you get a clue each month. It started in February. It will go through December. I have jumped in right here. And they just got this clue. So I need to work these to catch up to them, which I think I can do. I knit the first clue in a week. Not knit, stitch. I stitched it because it's on Ada. So I stitched this clue. Which is this. This is on 16 count Ada, which is what she sold a lot of kits, and her kits were made up with this, so I went ahead and got this. I'm not a huge fan of Ada, but it is very easy to see. This will have a lot of back stitching on it, as you can see right there. So this is clue 1, and it was hard for me to pick a color. I really wanted to pick a variegated thread, but this calls for, I think, 11 skeins of DMC floss, and I have Waverly 12 curtains in my kitchen that are black and white, and I have black granite counters, so I thought this would be really pretty in a little sitting area we have off the kitchen that has those curtains. So that is nicknamed the Sneak. And I guess in England, I guess they don't say mystery. I guess they call it a secret stitch-along. So it is nicknamed hashtag the Sneak Cow if you want to check out other people's projects, because there are some women who have done it in variegated threads, and it's really beautiful. Another stitch along that so-and-so just finished was a Satsuma mystery knit along, and that looked really, the product looked really cool too. They're getting ready to start one on Wednesday. So in my next podcast, I'll let you guys know what that's going to be. If that's something you're interested in, go check out the Facebook group. Another stitch along that I'm getting ready to participate in. You know, this is really crazy that I'm doing all these stitch alongs and knit alongs because last year I swore off them. Said I will never do that again. There's too much stress involved. And I allowed myself one, and now I'm in. This is starting June 23rd. Donna Ray has talked about it on her podcast. It's Quaker Handwork. It's by Brenda Gervais. It's really pretty. I have everything called for in this. I ordered the specialty threads. I ordered the linen is, let's see, the stitches are 178 wide by 105 high, and it's done on 35 count espresso linen, which I could not find 35 count anywhere. So I ordered 36 count espresso linen by R&R Reproduction. Now, Long Dog Stitcher just ordered some espresso linen for something she's working on, and she said it smells like coffee. And she's washing hers out because she's not a coffee drinker, but I am a coffee drinker. I probably can easily drink 3 cups a day. So I'm looking forward to getting this. It's coming in the mail on Monday. So this is what is next up for me, June 23rd. I am really looking forward to the Hawk Run Hollow Stitch Along that starts in October. I'm really going to try to hold off from any other stitch alongs. It's hard. You guys are crazy. I don't think you're a good influence on me at all. What is Libby talking about? Libby is my app. It's tied on. She's tied into whatever library that you are near. You can get her. I mean, you can, if you have a library card, you can go to Overdrive and you can download the Libby app, which is incredible. I have been a member of Audible for years and years and years, and when my husband retired and we started cutting back some of our expenses, I stopped my Audible account and I found this instead because he was using it, and I love it. I love it. I love it. So I just finished a day ago. Let me look at my notes here. I just finished Thunderstruck by Eric Larson. It is a true crime story, and it interweaves the 2 lives of 2 very famous men. First of all, it's set in Edwardian England on the heels of Jack the Ripper, just before World War I. There are transatlantic voyages going across the ocean, but there is no way for those ships to communicate to land. Once you were out to sea, you were out to sea with no communication until you got to wherever you were going. But there is an Italian inventor, Marconi. That's a real person. All these people are real people. And he is in the throes of inventing the telegraph, that the telegraphical system where you can communicate by telegraph. The Germans are after the technology. Other inventors are competing with him to try to invent it first. He's having failures, one after the other. He has set up telegraph poles in Nova Scotia, I think, or one of those Canadian places up there, maybe Newfoundland. I'm not sure. And one in Cornwall, and they're trying to do this across the sea. Not having a whole lot of success. And at the same time, the other person who the story is about is a doctor named Holly Crippen. And he's in a very odd match in his marriage. That's all I will say. I will tell you that this is the most famous murder case that has happened. I will tell you that, because I don't want to reveal the story too much, but I will tell you that Alfred Hitchcock took a huge element of the story and put it into Rear Window, one of his films. He put it into several other films that he made, other parts of this story, this true story. I will tell you that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle went to the trial. I will tell you that people all around the world had eyes on this famous murder. So I think that that's all I'm going to tell you about it, but what I really enjoy about Erik Larson, the author, is that in his books, he paints a picture of everything that's going on in the world at that time. So you learn a lot about a whole lot of different things that are going on in the world. And I think I've mentioned I love history. So this was right up my alley. So once again, the book is Thunderstruck by Erik Larson. So thank you guys so much. Go out and watch Michelle Bendy and see her Mustang Sally. Go watch Theresa and see how she has spread a smile around the world. That's pretty impressive, Theresa. There were a lot of smiles out there in Instagram, and I think they were bouncing all over the world, just like that telegraph was in my book. So thank you guys so much. If you like this podcast, give me a thumbs up. Think about subscribing. I do hope you come back. I hope you found something here of interest. You guys take care. I'll see you soon. Bye.